Leon, a dog who was rescued from the brink of death, is now living a happy
Все,
and stable life.
лег.
After being found blind, chained and starving in an abandoned summer house, he defied all odds to survive, thanks to the care and love of his rescuer, Marina. His transformation from a broken, emaciated dog to a joyful companion has been nothing short of miraculous. But one morning, when Maria called Leon, there was no response. What happened to Leon? Was something wrong? Stay tuned for today's video on pets in love to discover more. Leon's journey began in the most heart-wrenching way imaginable. Abandoned and chained to a desolate summer house, he was left to suffer in silence. Starved, dehydrated, and blind, this poor dog had no hope of survival. His body was a mere shell of what it should have been, emaciated to the point that every bone was visible beneath his ragged fur. With no food, no water, and no one to care for him, it seemed like his life was doomed to end in agony, forgotten by the world. But as fate would have it, Leon's story didn't end there. He had a guardian angel in the form of Marinaloginovaj. It was a cold, dreary day when Marina first found Leon. She had been driving down a quiet, forgotten road, her heart heavy with the knowledge that so many dogs like Leon were left behind, abandoned to suffer alone. She had seen countless cases of neglect and cruelty, but nothing could have prepared her for what awaited her at that abandoned summer house. There, chained to a crumbling fence, was a dog, a pitiful sight, a shell of a creature struggling just to survive. Leon was lying in the dirt, his ribs protruding sharply through his ragged fur, his body painfully emaciated. His eyes, clouded with blindness, darted around in confusion, searching for any sign of life, but he couldn't see. The sound of her car seemed to alert him, and he tried to lift his head, but his strength was gone. He was weak, dehydrated, starving. His life had been reduced to a slow, agonizing wait for an end. Marina's heart broke. The dog's condition was beyond tragic, and yet, there was a flicker of hope in her. She couldn't just walk away. She had to act. Without a second thought, she rushed to Leon's side, gently speaking to him, trying to comfort him even as she assessed his condition. The sight of his skeletal frame and the desperate look in his eyes shook her to her core. He had been abandoned, chained like an object to suffer and die alone. But Marina wasn't about to let that happen. With careful hands, she untied the chain that had bound him so cruelly, freeing him from his prison. Leon was too weak to stand, but Marina didn't hesitate. She carefully lifted him into her arms, holding him close as she whispered promises of love and safety to him. She didn't know what had caused him so much pain, but she would make sure he never suffered like that again. Marina rushed Leon to the clinic, where a team of veterinarians immediately went to work. They confirmed the worst of her fears. Leon was blind in both eyes, with one eye completely damaged beyond repair, and the other only holding a slim chance of regaining some sight. His body was starved to the point of near collapse, and he was severely dehydrated. Yet through it all, despite his suffering, Leon had somehow held on to life. In the days that followed, Marina stayed by Leon's side, doing everything she could to help him heal. She fed him small amounts of food and water, slowly reintroducing nutrients to his frail body. The journey to recovery was long, and at first, Leon had no idea what was happening. He was terrified, confused, and hurt. His frail, blind body trembled whenever Marina approached, unsure of the new world around him. But slowly, something beautiful began to happen. As the days turned into weeks, Leon began to trust Marina. He could feel the gentleness in her touch, hear the kindness in her voice. He no longer feared her presence. In time, his body started to respond to the care and attention. He gained weight, his fur started to shine again, and his eyes, while still blind, began to soften with the warmth of the love Marina provided. Every small victory was a huge step forward. When Leon took his first tentative steps, his body shaking with weakness, Marina cheered him on. When he started to eat on his own, it was a triumph. She spent hours with him, comforting him, reassuring him that he was no longer alone. Gradually, Leon's fearful, anxious demeanor was replaced with a quiet confidence. He began to trust Marina completely, seeking her out for comfort and companionship. As the months passed, Leon's transformation was nothing short of miraculous. He was no longer the broken, starved dog chained to a cold, forgotten house. His once dull coat became soft and shiny, his body strong and healthy. Though his eyes would never regain full sight, Leon had found something more important, a sense of security, love, and belonging. He had come to know that he was safe, that he would never be abandoned again. For Marina, Leon's recovery was a constant reminder of why she did what she did. She had seen so much suffering, but in Leon's eyes she saw hope. She had watched him go from a terrified, starving dog to a joyful, stable companion, a dog who had learned to trust again, a dog who had finally found peace. Leon had come to her broken, but under her care, he had become whole again, not just in body, but in spirit. And every day, as he lay beside her, content and safe, Marina knew that the love and compassion she gave him had saved his soul. But just when it seemed like Leon had found his peace, fate had another test in store for him, one that would push both his body and spirit to the limit. One day, after 50 weeks of progress, Marina called for Leon, as she did every morning. But this time, there was no response. Leon, the dog who had once been a shadow of his former self, now a stable and joyful companion, was uncharacteristically silent. Alarmed, Marina rushed to find him. What she discovered left her heart in her throat. Leon, usually so eager to greet her, was lying on the ground, his head tilted to one side. His eyes were moving uncontrollably, darting around with no apparent focus. He couldn't stand or walk, his legs trembling beneath him. He was disoriented, unable to comprehend what was happening. Marina's heart sank. She feared the worst, that the miracle of Leon's recovery was about to be undone. Rushing to the vet, Marina was told that while it wasn't a stroke, the cause of Leon's sudden decline was still unclear. The doctor suspected an inner ear infection that might be affecting his balance and coordination, but they couldn't rule out cysts or tumors. The uncertainty was crushing, and Marina couldn't help but wonder if this was the end of Leon's journey, the end of everything they had worked so hard for. Further tests revealed even more troubling news. Doctors feared multiple health issues, heart disease, possible lung problems, and the terrifying possibility of tumors. But despite the flood of bad news, Marina's determination never wavered. She refused to give up on the dog who had fought so hard to stay alive. She took Leon from clinic to clinic, seeking answers and second opinions, her heart never giving up hope. Then, after what felt like an eternity of tests and examinations, the mystery was finally solved. Leon was suffering from severe inner ear inflammation. The relief was palpable. There were no tumors, no signs of the worst-case scenarios they had feared. But the inflammation was still serious. Leon would need months of treatment, including hormone therapy, to heal. The next few months were grueling. Leon's recovery was slow and painstaking. He needed help with everything: eating, standing, walking. His coordination was still off, and Marina had to be by his side at every moment, supporting him physically and emotionally. But slowly, very slowly, Leon started to improve. His appetite returned, his legs grew stronger, and his balance started to improve. Marina's care, patience, and love were working their magic once again. With each passing day, Leon regained a little more of his strength and independence. He began to walk on his own, albeit unsteadily, his steps shaky but determined. His fur grew back, soft and shiny, and his once emaciated body filled out, becoming healthier and stronger. Over time, the dog who had once been a shell of himself, broken and abandoned, had transformed into a stable, happy companion. Leon would never regain full vision, but he had something far more important: a life filled with love, safety, and care. The dark days of his past were finally behind him, replaced by the warmth of a family who would never let him fall into darkness again. Leon's journey wasn't easy, but it was one of resilience. His transformation, both physically and emotionally, was a testament to the power of love and compassion. The broken dog who had once been chained and starving had been given a second chance at life. And now, surrounded by people who cared for him, Leon was thriving. For Marina, who had never stopped fighting for him, Leon wasn't just a rescue story. He was family, a living proof of what love and determination can achieve. And as Leon continues to heal and grow stronger, Marina remains by his side, watching him live the life he always deserved. A life filled with joy, comfort, and love. That's the end of the story today. If Leon's story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Pets in Love. What do you think about this story? If one day you were faced with a situation like this, what would you do to help them? Share your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more incredible stories of love and hope. Thank you for your support. Wishing you all peace, happiness. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.